Hey everybody, Matt here, and today I'm going to be doing a tips and tricks on how to become a better MMO player. And I'm going to be doing this while I'm doing my dailies on World of Warcraft, because that's what you do on World of Warcraft. You do dailies every day, infinitely. So, in order to become a better MMO player, there's a certain step list that I go by, and I do this with all the MMOs that I ever play, and I've been playing MMOs for probably about 15 years now, and it's always worked. It's always worked in every one of the games. So, one of the first things that you always want to do, number one thing, always is read your abilities. Read them out loud, read them to somebody else, have somebody else read them to you so that you understand everything about that ability. Because there's a lot of abilities in a lot of different games that have kind of an underlying ability that you may not be paying attention to, but it's going to mean something later on. So, like, for instance, like, let's see, on here on World of Warcraft, with Thunderclap, whenever I hit the Thunderclap, it's going to blast the enemy within 8 yards for 21,747 damage, and then it applies the weakened blows effect. And then underneath that, if you see, it tells me what weakened blows does. So all every MMO I've ever played, there is always either an underlying ability that goes with an ability, or there's something that's either a negative effect or a positive effect that goes with it that you may overlook. Like there's some games that might have if you do this ability, it applies 3 frost damage to something, and you're like, okay, well, I don't really need frost damage, so you just kind of forget about it, and then come to find out later on that that was actually for some kind of specific boss, and that's like a main move you should have been using the whole time. So it's always good to, like I said, read out the abilities and make sure you know exactly what they do and remember them. And if you need to, from time to time, make sure just to reread them, just so you remember what they do. The second thing to do, what I always do, is just research the crap out of the game. Research your class, your abilities, everything. The reason why you want to do this is in case there are certain abilities that combo together. If there's certain ones that maybe require you to use in order to make another ability even better, or if there is a certain rotation that you need to be doing in order to maximize your DPS or your threat or your healing or whatever it is that you're wanting to do. So you always want to research within the game and out. So you can ask friends if they know anything that would help you get a little bit better, or you could Google search, or you can go to different MMO websites that maybe people have a little more knowledge on it, or forums or anything like that. You want to research everything and make sure that you know everything there is to know about the abilities and the class, because it's going to help out a whole bunch. Okay, so the next thing that I find extremely crucial to becoming a better MMO player is to prioritize your buttons. So, for instance, most all MMOs, unless they're on console, they're going to use the number keys 1 to equal sign, and you use them in a row. So most of the times you have two hands, your left hand, right hand, you're going to have your left hand over the 1, 2, 3, and 4 button. So most of the time you're going to be actually hitting those buttons more. So you want your highest ability that you're going to be doing, you want that to be at the front. You want it to be the first. You want it to be the first ability that you go through and actually use. So you want to do the way I do it is usually it's 1, 2, 3, and 4 are either their opening combo abilities or there's something that are going to begin your DPS chain that's going to maximize your DPS, or they're going to be like your main healing abilities, whatever it is, the top tier abilities that you're going to use the most, you want to put in the front where you're going to be able to access them the quickest and the most. Also, I like to do it where, whatever is the most comfortable. Next, this is something that helps me out a lot. I've told other players that I do this, and they end up trying it out, and then they like it a lot. I'll turn that down some. What I actually do after I know all the abilities, all the moves, and I know where to prioritize the buttons, what I do a lot is switch the buttons around. So you might look at it and you're like, okay, well I need to do this and I need to do that because this is what needs to start the chain, or this is what I need to apply first because it's going to do the most DPS. Every once in a while, just switch it around. Just try something else in that spot, because I'm notorious for I'll use an ability and it won't be used all the time. It won't be used to its fullest extent because it's not in my top tier chain. It's not the ones that I'm hitting with, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'll tend to not use those abilities as much as if I was to put them in 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that if I switch them into that rotation or into those buttons, I'll try it out a little more. And a lot of times what I end up finding out is that I can actually do a little bit more DPS, or I'm able to do something else that's different and situational by moving the abilities around and just trying them out more. Basically what I'm doing is I'm purposely forcing myself to use other abilities that aren't in the beginning chain, if that makes any sense. For instance, like on my warrior here, so I have my Mortal Strike and my Overpower. I usually always start out with the Colossal Smash and then go into Mortal Strike, and then that procs my Overpower. And then I have my Execute over here. The reason why I have it here is because it's always used at the end and I spam the crap out of it. So a lot of times what I'll do is maybe I'll switch my Overpower with my Charge because I'm not using it enough, and I'll switch it over so that I'll try that out more. Now I already know how to use it and where to put it at, but if I have another ability here that I want to use more, maybe I'm not using my buffs enough, or maybe I'm not doing a certain dot move that I need to be doing more. If I move it over here, where this execute is, since it's in the first 4 buttons, then I'll force myself to use it more. I'll force myself to recognize what it does, to get used to it. Then if I want to move it somewhere else, I can. The next thing that you want to do, which I feel is extremely helpful, is if you're playing an MMO that uses macros, then use the macro system. I mean, that's what they put it in there for, is so that you have the ability to use it. Go through and figure out what the macro commands are, what it is that you can macro together. Like in World of Warcraft, I have like 3 buttons on my charge macro together so that I can just hit that one charge button and it does multiple things. It does my victory rush, it does my intercept, it does it disables my blade storm. So one button does 4 different things now, which actually helps me out a bunch, because with World of Warcraft there's actually a ton of different buttons on here and different abilities and everything that you can't actually access them all at one time. So this actually helps out a whole bunch. Starting to lose my voice. Sorry about that. So, yeah, try to macro any and everything that you can together. I mean, even if it's something really simplistic like a throw to your auto attack, or if it's like a charge or tank move where you're raising your shield or blocking or something, macroed with something else. Try to see if you can efficiently macro them together so that you're able to do more abilities at one time. It gives you more things to do at one time. Um, the last and final thing, in my opinion, to becoming a better MMO player is just consistency. You want to be extremely consistent and you want to practice as much as you can with that class or the class's abilities and the different rotations that you can do. So you want to just constantly be practicing. You want to do instances, you want to do PvP, you want to do, if they have any kind of test dummy or something that you can mess with in the game, you just want to sit there and try to see, you know, try to push yourself. How high can you push the numbers to? What in what order will help me get to these highest numbers? So this is where we make sure we've read all of our abilities, make sure all of them are prioritized in a place where it's comfortable for us to press the buttons and to make sure that they all basically combo together. And then if it doesn't work, then we want to move some stuff around to make sure that we move in, work in some of the other moves and buttons, get used to those, and make sure we read those so that we can hit our maximum DPS, our healing, or our ability to tank and hold threat, or whatever it is that you're doing in the game. You want to make sure you maximize that. And then after that, all it is I mean, for any MMO, is just gearing up and just just like any game. When you play a fighting game, you're not always the best fighter whenever you first start the game. You have to consistently keep playing that same character, and then eventually you get really, really good at it because you learn everything about it. It's the same with MMOs. It's just constant practice. You just have to be very, very persistent with it. I said this has worked with every game. Whenever I'm playing Final Fantasy XIV, if I'm playing World of Warcraft, Aeon, if I'm playing Terra, if I'm playing any of the other MMOs I play, Final Fantasy 11, all of them, it always works exactly the same. It's always just prioritizing, knowing what you're doing, and then just executing. If you liked the video today, make sure that you hit the like button below and favorite and subscribe because that helps me out a whole bunch. And if you want to actually come by and see me playing World of Warcraft or any of the other MMOs that I play live, I am on Twitch and I stream usually every day. Here lately I've actually been missing a couple of days because I've been busy, but usually it's every day. I have the schedule posted up on there. And then here in the summer it's actually going to become even more. So if you want to come by, check me out. The link will be in the description below. Also, you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and what else? Oh, on Twitch. You want to make sure you follow me on there. And also make sure that you leave any comments below so that I can answer them. I try to answer them as quick as I can. If I can't, you can always just shoot me a message on Twitter or whatever else, or you can come ask me in the Twitch channel live. But until then, I'll see you next time.